G'day folks, here's my October collection update. G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. This is my October collection update video, which is sizable, a bloody metric ton of stuff to get through tonight. I probably went a little overboard in the preceding months to this, but I've said that before. But I tell you what, this last week and a half or so, I haven't bought one thing. It's a bit scary. Hoping I'll still have stuff for my November collection update, but I'm sure I will. Still a batch of stuff coming in the mail, so she'll be alright. Sadly, I don't have the new autopsy yet, so if you got your hopes for that, next month. But anyway. But yeah, this month I got a good batch of stuff. It's mostly horrible death metal or horrible grindcore. There's a smidge of horrible black metal and horrible doom, but yeah, ain't much nice stuff going on in here, which is fine by me. So yeah, I got some absolute classics in this, plus plenty of new stuff as well, so yeah, better get into it, I think. Alright, first up we got an absolute bloody classic. This is Napalm Death Peel Sessions. This is the first two Peel sessions they did. This is recordings they did for John Peel's show on Radio 1 in the UK. So these are professional recordings done by Dale Griffin, who's the drummer of What the Hopple, apparently, and I don't think he got along very well with him. I'm trying to remember where the hell I read it, but somewhere or other they didn't have a great time, I don't think. I mean, the band did, I think, but I don't think he did. So yeah, this is tracks from 1987, September 1987, and then March 88. And I think around this time they were doing a batch of sort of earache grind bands. There was like Bolt Throwers a couple of months beforehand in January 88. Unseen Terror was like 2 weeks later from the 88 one of this. Yeah, there's a good batch of stuff. I think they did Extreme Noise Terror as well in 87. So, yeah, but it's interesting looking at all the bands on the cover, because they all did Peel sessions. There's like Joe Cocker, Dead Can Dance, all sorts of stuff. Split Ends is on here, Psychedelic Furs, The Cure, etc., etc. So, in good company, but yeah, to me, this is prime Napalm Death. This is what I listen to the most. This and Live Corruption, pretty much, for the Barney fix when I need that. Yeah, this is all songs off Scarmore from Enslavement to Obliteration. I don't know if there's like one Mentally Murdered song on here, maybe. I don't think so. It's also got a couple of covers. It's got a couple of SOB songs and a Siege song as well. And it just sounds amazing. It's like super loud. The bass is just snarling as hell. One of my favourite things is just the drums are ridiculously loud. I think I've rambled about this before, but it's like a wipeout of everything whenever he blasts. Yeah, but on here, I mean, it's got a lot of their classics. It doesn't have Scum, which is a shame. I really love the song Scum, but I think Deceiver on here is probably the prime example of just power. It's simple killer chords. It's actually the Morbid Deceiver one where they borrow the start of the Repulsion song. Plus, it's got just blast fest. It's simple, nasty, and yeah, both vocals, which is another of the key things on this for me. Is some reason they let Mick Harris sing. He does the sort of scream vocals, I think, and Lee, I assume, just does the deep stuff. Not quite sure on that, but yeah, the high stuff is just ridiculously over the top. He had a ball. I was really surprised they didn't use him more often. I think he sung for like Extreme Noise Terror Live, maybe, or something or other. Maybe he just drummed for him, I don't know. But maybe he's on the Unseen Terror. Anyway, it's he just sounds insane. It's so ridiculously over the top. And unfortunately, Lee actually isn't quite loud enough on this. Really, his deep stuff is slightly buried, but yeah, everything is over the top. The guitars you could probably hear a bit better when it's blasting. They're a bit muffled in the background there, but when it's not blasting, you can hear them bloody well. And yeah, the versions on this are so killer. What is it? CS is awesome. MAD is just killer. I mean, they even make You Suffer sound epic, mainly because they put some huge delay thing on the end of it, but even that sounds awesome. It's amusing. I'm glad I finally got this. Like, I've had it on CD for ages, and you can get it on this, like, what's it called? The Earache Peel Sessions. Oh yeah, Grind Madness at the BBC, which does come with all the you know, the box set comes with Napalm, Extreme Noise Terror, Carcass, Bolt Thrower, Unseen Terror, Godflesh, and Heresy, and Intense Degree. So it is worth it from that, but it's brickwalled to buggery and just too loud. So I was glad to finally get this. I got this off someone on Facebook, so yeah, put it up for a good price. I was like, thank you very much, I'll have that. And yeah, this is the one with 2. They released, I think they released just the first Peel session by itself, which I think pretty sure it's on 12 inches, like 5 minutes 30, I'm pretty sure I just counted. The side 2 is at least like 14 minutes long, so it's, yeah, kind of ridiculously fast. Yeah, I just absolutely love this record. And it's in pretty bloody good nick for, you know, it's like 30 years old or whatever. I'm never sure quite on the legality of this. This is like Strange Fruit. I always thought it was kind of like a bootleg, but it seems to be legit. So God knows what pressing this is, but it does just say 89 on the back, so that'll do me. But yeah, it sounds really bloody good. A few little crackles here and there, but well, what are you going to do? So yeah, this is one of the greatest grind albums there is. Up next is the latest release from Blood Incantation. This is Luminescent Bridge. This one came out pretty bloody recently, actually. This came out on Century Media. I assume they're on Century Media now. I noticed the last album, well, actually the last proper metal, Hidden History or whatever it's called album, came out on Century Media in Europe and Dark Descent in America. So, but then the Time Wave Zero came out just on Century Media, so I don't know, maybe they're not on Dark Descent anymore. I have no idea how that works, but at any rate, this is on Century Media. This is an EP they just put out. It's like 2 songs, both about 9 and a bit minutes. Yeah, first song, Obliquity of the Ecliptic, is the more metal song on here. It's yeah, just their usual death metal-y sort of style, like seamless flow of riffs, really nice. It does get pretty mellow in the middle and then builds back up to nice sort of solo action. I really quite like their solos. They're not just sort of, you know, whammy bar explosions. They're thoughtful, you could say. It suits the music nicely. But yeah, the metal part of the song, the first 4 minutes or so, is, yeah, pretty bloody pounding. The drums are great, which is not a surprise thing. I think it's written by the drummer. Vocals sound largely different to me. I've only listened to it a couple of times. Maybe it's just I wasn't listening close enough, but vocals sound slightly different. Maybe it's the production. The second song, Luminescent Bridge, is pretty damn mellow. It's not quite as minimal as their Time Wave Zero album, which I listened to again the other day. It wasn't as bad as the first time I listened to it. It didn't really grab me at first, but it's working on me. Although I tell you what, there's a bit on there that sounds exactly like they've just pinched a bit out of the Rick and Morty theme song. I sat there for ages listening and going, what is that from? Pretty sure it's from Rick and Morty. Which is fine by me, I don't mind. But yeah, the song on here is a bit more fleshed out. It's you know, got guitars and drums and stuff in it as well, so it's very mellow. It actually reminds me of Alchemist again quite a bit. So yeah, it's only an EP. Probably wasn't cheap, seeing I'd get it from Europe or somewhere or other, but oh well, what the hell. Honestly, it's got about 4 minutes of death metal on it, which is, I mean, I like that they're doing experimental stuff and mucking around. It's fine by me, but quite good enough value, not quite a good enough fix for me of the death metal side of things, but yeah, still pretty bloody killer stuff. So I should show you the back, or spacey sort of stuff. But yeah, I love this band. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. Up next for a batch I got from Hell's Headbangers in America. So yeah. This next one is the other most recent Blood Incantation release that I couldn't resist. The Blood Split with Incantation. I could not resist the silliness of that because I like both bands, so what the hell. Yeah, this has got 2 songs by Blood and 1 by Incantation. Blood's like a very old German grind, deathy grind sort of band from, I don't know, late 80s I think they formed. Been around for donkey's years. And bloody killer at MDF when I saw them. They were excellent. Yeah, their stuff on here sounds a bit more deathy than grindy than sort of some of their earlier stuff, but both tracks bloody killer, very heavy. I like their sound. Incantation, just, well, it sounds like Incantation. Yeah, you know what you get in there. I think it's like an offcut from Sect of Vile Divinities, but yeah, it's got a nice sort of speed up, kind of raspier vocals. So yeah, I mean, it's more worth it just for a laugh, but one thing I'll be peeved about, is on the cover, which is nice Christoph Moyen cover. What they've done on the back is a bodgy Photoshop job, because his hands are the same on the back, but on the front he's got his hand around booby corpse lady. But on the back they're the same, so yeah, bodgy Photoshop job there. I don't know if Mr. Moyen would be happy with that, but maybe he doesn't give a shit. I don't know, but yeah, a good silly little purchase, and yeah, can't go wrong with either band really. The main reason I did a Hell's Headbanger order was to get this, the Necrophagia album Holocausto della Morte. They just reissued this. I can't remember what it came out on originally, not Hell's Headbangers, I don't think. Yeah, they just reissued this on record, and I just couldn't resist. I always kind of love that cover. It's yeah, this is US death metal, Killjoy singing, and Phil Anselmo on guitar from Pantera. So yeah, this is a tribute to Lucio Fulci, the classic Italian horror director. Various bits from his movies. So yeah, this is only the second, no, I think the third Necrophagia album. It comes with a nice little, ooh. You get like lyrics and the boys looking tough, and some horrible gore on the back, including a picture of Janet Jamison wearing their shirt for some reason. Yeah, I do. I've had this album since it came out on CD, really. It's a bit stupid that I even bought it, but what the hell. I really do very much enjoy this album. This is easily my favourite Phil Anselmo stuff. On this, I'm assuming he wasn't allowed to use his real name, you know, probably due to copyright with, well, you know, whatever label Pantera were on. So, yeah, on this he's Anton Crowley. Ooh, evil. And I'm pretty sure he wrote like all of the music on this, and does a bloody good job. I mean, it's pretty much just groovy mid-based autopsy worship, but I ain't complaining. I love it. It's got a sort of slightly dry kind of sound. Like, I don't know, it's basic but really cool. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Killjoy's vocals. Partly because I think this is probably the first thing I heard her on. I don't mind it on here, but I think on the Ravenous, where he's that supergroup with like Chris Reifert, I always get peeved that Killjoy's singing and Chris isn't singing, because I like Chris's voice way better. But anyway. But yeah, all the songs on here are pretty bloody killer. They get Maniac from like Mayhem does like an intro to, I think it's The Cross Burns Black, which is pretty shit. And it just sounds like the Grand Declaration of War, which is not my favourite Mayhem album, that's for sure. I think Children of the Vortex is probably my favourite on here, but honestly the whole album bloody kills. Yeah, it sounds quite a bit different than their Season of the Dead album, which I never did have back in the day. I'm really not that familiar with it. Sounds odd when I listen to that. This is what I usually think of what Necrophagia sounds like, so yeah, good upgrade. But yeah, I love this album. It's just killer stuff. Up next is one I got off the band's Bandcamp. This is Postulants with Beliefs of Dead Stargazers and Soothsayers. Ooh. These guys are... they're from Queensland, which is the Florida of Australia, you could say, which is quite fitting because they do sound like various Florida death metal sort of bands from back in the day. So yeah, that's pretty much what it sounds like. Pretty heavy, pretty nice. I'll point out one thing though. The first song, Aspirants of Intemperance, has the most blatant bloody My Dying Bride riff and beats from Symphonaire, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah, the song. I mean, they picked a great riff, but don't get me wrong, but it's pretty much exact. I had to rewind it multiple times for it to finally click into my head, like, oh, where do I know that bloody riff. And yeah, finally worked it out, and it's a bit too obvious there, fellas. Maybe it's a tribute, I don't know, like, the rest of it doesn't sound like My Dying Bride, so... Oh well. And as I said, great use of the riff, but that's pretty much the same as Symphonaire. But yeah, this overall is pretty bloody killer, actually. This is better than their EP, which I have to read the name of. The Birth of the Beginning Before the Inception of the End. Yeah, much better sound on this. And better playing as well. And comes with a picture of the boys looking... Look at that arm crossing. That's some quality arm crossing there. So yeah, it's talented stuff, pretty bloody heavy, good playing. Sometimes I don't know if the drummer quite sounds out of time with the rest of the band. Maybe it's just doesn't quite mesh for me. Very keen to see these guys live. I reckon this would go very well live, so hoping they make their way down south at some stage. So, yeah, good old Pestilence. Up next is one I got from Aeon of Fire. This is Baxaxa with Divermus Mysterious. This is old German black metal. Yeah, this is one of those bands that put out like a demo in the 90s. And then 25 years later, finally decided to reform and continue on. So I certainly didn't hear them back in the day. But yeah, all of the more recent output's bloody killer. This was like resurrected by the drummer, who's also in g.o.d, I think. So, but yeah, it's just sort of, it's kind of old, very old sounding. It's not modern hyperblasty kind of stuff. It's mostly sort of slow or kind of mid-paced. Nice vocals as well. So, yeah, this is their second album, I think, since reforming. And yeah, it just has a nice sort of timeless sound. Slight bit of keys on here, I think, in Necrolatry Libation, the last song that's used pretty well. And I actually really like the slow Awaken the Old Things in the Ground. But yeah, as Simon from Explosive Accent pointed out, I think it's the song, I think it's the title track to Vermis Mysterious. Has this bit where he's like, it's just awesome. Yeah, does kind of make me laugh, which is not really ideal for a black metal band, but what the hell. And it comes with this friggin' gigantic booklet, which, ooh, stylish. Kind of nicely weird, esoteric sort of looking stuff in there. God knows what's going on in a lot of it. So, yeah, good value. I like it. So yeah, I'm quite enamoured with this band, I've got to say. This came out on the Sinister Flame records, so yeah, keep your eye out for that one. It's yeah, good German black metal. Up next is a batch I got from Underground Force Productions from Melbourne. It's an excellent distro run by Damon from Bestial Warlust. First up we have Morbid Angel with Thy Kingdom Come picture disc. Ooh. I always love that design, so it's kind of nice to have that on picture disc. Yeah, this is their this is the last recording they did before Altars of Madness. So it's like a 3-track demo they did. This has got what's his name, Wayne Hartzell, I think, is the drummer on here. Who so this is pre Pete Sandoval and post Mike Browning. And, you know, Wayne's a lot better than Mike. I don't really rate Mike Browning much. So, yeah, this is just killer stuff. So it's actually 2 songs. It shows the quality of their songs. That there's like 2 songs on this weren't even needed for Altars of Madness. It's like Thy Kingdom Come and Abominations, both on, you know, Blessed of the Sick, whereas Blasphemy of the Holy Ghost, the only song that actually made it on Altars from here. So it just shows how strong their songwriting was back then. And yeah, this sounds pretty friggin' good for a demo, I've got to say. I'll show you the back as well. Nice picture of old mate Mr. Crowley on there. I love it. It says back cover was made by Satan, and it says this record was produced in the memory of Aleister Crowley, who taught us life. Oh. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. This came out on Reek of Death Records, which is yeah, somewhat notorious provider of less than legal recordings, I think. So this is limited to 300 copies apparently. Yeah, sure. But yeah, great crunchy guitar sound on this. Sounds killer for a demo. If anything, actually, the vocals sound really quite raspy on this. Not really Dave Vincent's best work, I don't think, but I don't know, I'm sure some like it a lot, but I think I prefer his Altars stuff a bit more. But yes, killer stuff. I mean, it's a legendary demo for a reason. Also from Underground Force was Fluids with Fluids of Death 2. This is a compilation of stuff from this, I think they're Arizona death grind sort of band, kind of in the vein of Morticians, certainly up my alley. Yeah, this is a compilation of their tracks from their splits with Oxidized Razor, Putrid Stew, and Pharmacists. Varying sort of sound on here. I think probably the Oxidized Razor stuff sounds a better lot, or maybe just Putrid Stew stuff doesn't really sound that good. So it's mostly sort of short, very heavy songs. They do use quite a few samples, and it's one of the more sinister aspects of this. They're kind of samples I don't really want to know the origin of sometimes. I love that they've got the obviously not human sort of use of drum machines. It's just a bit too fast, and they just have weird sort of, I don't know, cyber grindy effects in the background that, I don't know, it sounds really cool. It works very well for me. I like that they're not just trying to pretend like it's an actual, drummer or something like that. Although I have a feeling maybe it has a drummer as well, but I don't know. I like that it's on Mystic Smells Productions. Charlie. One of the, I think my favourite song in here is No, We Don't Want to Do a Charity Comp on Your Stupid Fucking Label. They're an amusing band. I'll try and find a link to it somewhere. Remember, I think it was just listening to a very amusing interview they did. I know it was a video, that's right, with some youngish guy that I don't think quite understood the humour of the band, and yeah, they were odd, very odd, you could say. I'll try and provide a link to it below. I suggest watching it. But yeah, this is killer heavy stuff. I only have like compilations of theirs. I've got to actually track the albums down at some stage. So one day they've got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 albums. One day I'll get them. And lastly from Underground Force is Thy Feeble Saviour with And Darkness Fell. This is Black Death sort of stuff from Texas. The members of this is Francisco, who started the band. I think it was a one-man band back then. It was 2004. He's also in Hypo-Christians and a batch of other bands. Also used to run the No Weak Shit label. Love that name. And yeah, he plays all the guitars and sings, and the drummer is Matt, who Hefner from about half the bands from Texas. Very incestuous scene, the old Houston scene, I think. So yeah, he's also was in Blaspherian and Oath of Cruelty, and he's in Cruciamentum now. Both of these guys are in Morbossadad for a while, and both of them are in Cemeterian, which is a killer death metal band. So yeah, they're incestuous, you could say. But this stuff is nasty. I like it. It's pretty damn raw. This is very much in the vein of your traditional, US black metal, your Profanatica and Demon Sea sort of style. Just nice raw, but this is freaking heavy as well. These guys are pretty chunky. Vocals are kind of a combo of your deep growls and your raspy, slightly Beharitish, I suppose. And yeah, it's really quite killer stuff, I gotta say. I love the cover art as well. There's Daniel Sawblade, who does guest vocals on this as well, doing his best Moyen impression, I think, on the cover. But I like the back as well, with the crucifix made of maggots. Charming. And I appreciate the inner lining. I think Paul Ledney did this himself. But appreciate the old standing on a grave. I love a good standing on a grave band photo. Still doesn't get as good as Mortician, but hey, what the hell. But yeah, this is just raw, nasty Black Death. Probably a bit more black than death, but freaking heavy as hell. It's great stuff. And continuing in the vein of bands that Francisco was in is Hypo-Christians with Terror During Prayer. I got this from Radical Blast from Melbourne. I saw this and just jumped on it immediately because I have like an EP of theirs somewhere that's pretty friggin' killer as well. But yeah, this is awesome stuff. I love it. It's very noisy, sort of old style grind. So, but yeah, it's pretty chunky, metally sort of bits as well. It's almost not quite. One of my mates mentioned it as a slight war metal sort of feel to it, but it's heavy but raw and nasty grind. I love it. It's mostly sort of growled vocals. What is it? I think Destroying Humans, I think, is my favourite song on here. It's a complete ripper, but everything's killer. I mean, it's not super original, but what the hell? It's raw sound and catchy grind, so you can't go too wrong there. So yeah, very stylish. I kind of like this art on the inner sleeve as well. Pretty stylish. So yeah, I kind of wish there was a bit more of these guys. I mean, there's a few like splits and stuff out there, but it didn't look like there were any more albums. So yeah, it's but yeah, this one definitely worth tracking down. Up next is one that I've been looking for some time. This is a Wadge split with Preparation H. Massive fan of Wadge. Love these guys. I know it's supposed to be pronounced Wadge or something, but I don't care. I call it Wadge. Up yours. Yeah, I've been after this for donkey's years. This is like one of their real early ones. I think it's only like their second EP or something or other. So yeah, this is angry one-man drum machine grind from Canada, and I love it. I love these guys so much. They're just the toughest band, and I've heard the guys very nice, but damn, he sounds angry on on record. So yeah, just insane vocals, really loud bass on this. I love it. And yeah, crazy drum machine, which is just, yeah, ridiculous stuff. Pretty sure we used to play this on radio all the time. There's killer riffs on Curse the World. And all of the songs in this can be found on this Vaudeville compilation. What the hell's it called? Assembled Armaments and Exotic Lore, which has, well, most of the EPs and demos and whatnot of WAJ. I don't think it actually has the demo for some reason. It doesn't have the albums, but all the splits and stuff. So, highly recommend getting this. Although I do believe it only just sold out. But there's a link in the description below to the Vaudeville website, which is you can get it digitally if need be, or we could probably track it down on Discogs or somewhere. But yeah, WAD stuff on this, killer. Preparation H, I don't know very much about. If grindy sort of band from Ohio, yeah, it ain't as good as WAD. But yeah, and if you're wondering, Preparation H, I'm sure most Americans probably know. I think it's like a hemorrhoid cream. Charming stuff. The sound on this is just woefully thin. It's pretty friggin' average, really, but some ridiculously loud. Like, I don't think any mastering was done anywhere near any of this, or possibly mixing. But and yeah, just ridiculously loud vocals just make me laugh, kind of. But and I'm very curious as to what's going on the cover. It's like Darth Vader and Elvis maybe watching telly. I don't know. There is like a Darth Vader theme used on the last song, which is "What is thy bidding, my master?" And there is like an Elvis intro. So obviously they're two points of interest. But yeah, I was happy to get this. I wonder who got it originally. It's got an Amoeba sticker on it for like $2. Maybe Brad picked it up when he was in America. But yeah, good stuff. Very happy to finally have that WAJ. So still got to get a couple more for the old collection. But I think I've still got to get the Enemy Soil one, which is kind of irritating because I like Enemy Soil a lot as well. So one day I'll track it down. But yeah, I very rapidly grabbed this one because, yeah, it was cheap. Thanks, Brad. While grabbing the WAJ, I kind of went a little crazy on 7-inches from Radical Blast because they were cheap, and I thought, I'm getting one 7-inch, might as well get 5. So yeah, up next is Backslider with Death Residue. This is like a fastcore kind of band from Philadelphia in America. Yeah, I've seen them live. I definitely saw them at MDF, maybe at like another gig in New York somewhere. I can't remember that. But yeah, they're fast as hell. They used to just be a 2-piece now, and I think they're a 3-piece. So yeah, the first song on this was kind of slower, power violent sort of style. I was rather thrown, thinking, wait a sec, weren't these guys quick as hell? But believe me, it speeds back up again, no worries. I had listened to their Psychic Rot album, which is from last year, I think, and yeah, they're still pretty friggin' fast, I gotta say. I think I was just thrown by the first song. Mortuary Art, the second song's bloody killer as well. Yeah, my only other stuff of theirs, and I just want to show it off because of the charming cover, but yeah, it's this split with Chainsaw to the Face, which is one of their earlier ones, and yeah, a bit more rabid than this, but I like what they're doing here. I might have to track down that Psychic Rod album, I think. But yeah, this is on Nerve Alter Records, and yeah, pretty much everything they press is quality, so yeah, good $6 or $8 or whatever I was spent, definitely. In the same batch of 7-inches, I got the Mesrine split with Deboned. Yeah, there's 2 Canadian grind bands. I hadn't actually heard the Deboned before, and yeah, maybe not best to look too closely at that cover. This is a nice sort of punky grind, nothing amazing, but yeah, did the trick. Mesrine I've known for ages. They got a batch of albums and EPs and stuff. Yeah, I assume they're named after Jacques Mesrine, who I was just reading about, and I was like, holy crap, that's a story and a half. Look him up if you want. I've had like 2 movies based on him with, I think, Vincent Cassel, the lucky man that was married to Monica Bellucci. I think he made him, I don't know if he's in him or not, but yeah, it's this French outlaw from the, like, I don't know, 70s and 60s and so on. Rollicking tale, that's for sure. So I might actually have to watch those movies sometime, but anyway, back to the band. Yeah, usually they sing about serial killers. They're not quite as blatant to songs about serial killers this time. Usually they're just like called Jeffrey Dahmer or, you know, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, their stuff on here is just good, fast, nasty grind. Sort of growly vocals and, yeah, killer stuff. Good old Canadian grind. And you guessed it, more Canadian grind. This is Violent Restitution split with grotesque organ defilement, or g.o.d. Wasn't actually familiar with Violent Restitution. It was pretty damn decent, raw, catchy grind sort of stuff. They do a cover of Warsaw songs, so that's pretty much what they sound like. Fine by me. The g.o.d stuff on here is pretty bloody killer. You've got a great mix of, your snotty screamed vocals, your rauky sort of power violency vocals, and then just, pitch shifted gurgles from hell. I saw these guys at MDF. They played on one of my favourite sort of, chunks of time. It was them, then Squash Bowels, then Devourment, then Mortician. That was a damn fine little run there. They were killer on that, and they're killer on this. For some reason this took 5 record labels to put this out. I still don't quite understand that. 5 labels to put out 11 songs, but great killer cover art from Pierre from like Blue Holocaust and Vomi Noir and Brain Dead Zine. Man knows how to draw well. That's killer stuff. So yeah, another excellent little 7-inch. Good work. And lastly from Radical Blast, because not Canadian grind, but European grind. This is Violent Headache split with Repulsion. I assume that's still pronounced Repulsion. I don't know, but Violent Headache. This is the first time hearing either of these bands, to tell the truth. I know there's people that love this band, so I thought, I'll definitely check that one out for $10 or whatever it was. Violent Headache's Spanish grind. That band started way back in '88. Not the youngest. It's just speedy, old school. Kind of sounds like Assak maybe a bit. One thing I didn't really quite grab me is the screen vocals. They just get a bit much after a while. It's pretty manic sounding. I like it, but it's, not quite my deal. The Repulsione stuff is grind from Italy. They're not quite as ancient, but first I put this on, I'm like, crikey, is that supposed to sound like that? It's just, all you could hear was bass and vocals and a bit of drums and in the background somewhere, but I looked it up and they got 2 bass players, no guitars. So that's probably what it's supposed to sound like, but it didn't really grab me, I gotta say. The music was okay, but the sound just kind of threw me. It's got a nice cover of Conform by Siege, which works very well with that sort of iconic bass intro, but overall, no. What the hell? Both songs, I don't know, both sides seem to have like a weird, I don't know if it was a locked groove or something weird about the start of it, but it sort of kicked my needle off onto the mat, which is not ideal. So I just started like, halfway through the first song, which is not good, but never seen a locked groove at the start of something. One of them just sat there playing for ages and then kicked it off, so odd. Anyway, so glad it was cheap. Up next is one I got from Landspeed Records in Canberra. Good old lunchtime. This is Dying Fetus with Make Them Beg for Death. This is the latest album of these charmingly named band. Look at that lovely cover as well. I may have acquired this digitally earlier and just been listening to it heaps, so I had to get it on record. It's just killer. This is the best thing I reckon since Destroy the Opposition. None of the other stuff really quite grabbed me. There's nothing wrong with it, but this is just more energetic, nasty, and just heavy as friggin' hell. They're always heavy as hell, don't get me wrong. They're not exactly reinventing the wheel here from their pretty much patented style from Destroy the Opposition, but it's just killer stuff. Just great breakdowns, just energetic. It really is the best way to put it, I think. And super tight as hell. The drums are crazy good. I've only seen this band the once, and I was trying to work out if I missed them when they toured Australia, but I think that was cancelled. Supposed to be playing with shitty deathcore bands, but I still would have gone for sure. But I remember seeing them at MDF and crowd. It was a home crowd still, but they just went berserk. It was awesome to see, and they were just tight as a Anyway, seemingly there's a few more solos on this than usual. Maybe they've done that on the more recent albums. I just sort of missed it, but the sound is way better than their last album. Wrong One to Fuck With. That's one thing I'm not a giant fan of with the old Dying Fetus is their tough guy lyrical content. It doesn't really grab me, but what the hell. Musically, it's killer. It's just nasty, killer breakdowns. I think. What is it? I think Undulating Carnage is probably maybe it's Unbridled Fury. I don't know. the whole thing's bloody great. I've listened to this a batch of times. It's good driving music, but as long as you got like cruise control and you're not flooring it too much, it's actually very good mowing music. I think there's several mows have been had on my quality ride-on mower while listening to this. Works very well. So yeah, don't know if many other people would tell them it's good mowing music, but keep up the good work, Dying Fetus, and feel free to tour Australia again sometime. Up next are a batch I got from Terrible Mutation Records, which is a quality Melbourne label. It's just started back up again, so I'm glad to see you back, Locke. First up, we have Last Days of Humanity with In Advanced Hemorrhaging Conditions. Yeah, I don't know why I bought this really. It was cheap, that's why. I've had this on CD since it came out. This is 7 minutes or so of music, half of which is friggin' samples. But yeah, it's 7.5 damn fine minutes, I've got to say. So yeah, I really love this EP. This is I like as far as Last Days of Humanity go, they're like ridiculous gore grind sort of stuff. I do prefer their Hymns of Indigestible Suppuration album the most. It's sort of a bit catchier. It's not quite as hyper-blasty as the later stuff. But after that is probably this EP and this Dutch Assault, the tracks that they did on this. Both pretty similar sort of vintage, I'd say. Prior to their Putrefaction in Progress, just, half an hour of blasting pretty much. So there's still a slight bit of variety, but it's friggin' fast and friggin' heavy. Yeah, it's just I love the samples on this as well, even though they take up bloody half the hour EP. The one that ends with the guy going, isn't that really sick? It's just a horrible sample. It's so beautiful. Yeah, this is pretty stylish. It's like, fancy coloured one. I think this is the one that comes in all random colours. And this one's like the etched version that you probably can't see for shit on video. But at any rate, believe me, it's etched. So yeah, honestly, this is just rumbling static guitars, gurgling vocals, and just hyper-speed drums. But that's just the way we like it. Also from Terrible Mutation was Ulceria with Line and Row. Now, I had a burn of this for donkey's years, probably since it came out, but I thought, what the hell? Maybe time to get the proper version, and it was cheap as chips, so what the hell? This is just blistering grind, mostly sort of yappy kind of vocals, but some growls and so on. It's probably not that far off like Excruciating Terror as its sort of style, and just general feralness. Yeah, this is a one-man band from Magnus from like Net Society System and Syphilitic Vagina. So yeah, Blake knows what he's doing. So yeah, this is a Line and Row album, which for some reason doesn't seem to have been released separately. This has got like all extra tracks on the normal album, but so yeah, and tracks from like 3 splits. It's all from about 2000 to 2003. And it also has 9 tracks with Yarn from Agathocles on vocals for some reason, which, yeah, those are not the best songs, I've got to say, but what the hell. But yeah, it's got nice raw sort of sound and just clear enough to make everything out, but there are some friggin' shredding riffs on here, that's for sure. Just short, catchy songs. The album Line and Row itself sounds way better than the splits. Yeah, this is just nasty grind. Love it. Also from Terrible Mutation is Neuro-Visceral Exhumation with their Gruesome Body Count album. This is their last album, unfortunately, because the main man Fred died last year, I believe, which is sad to see. This is raw as hell, but just pretty damn catchy gore grind from Brazil. This has vocals from the original singer Johnny, who, well, for some reason wasn't on the last album, Thou Shall Be Slaughtered. So yeah, he's back on this. I first heard this band because they got put out on No Escape Records from Melbourne. So yeah, their Mass Murder Festival album is pretty freaking killer, I gotta say. Yeah, just still rules for your heavy gore grind sort of stuff. I kind of like that this is heavy as hell and raw as hell, but you can actually still make stuff out. Although, honestly, this is way rawer than their earlier stuff. I don't know what's going on this, but it takes a bit to get used to, I gotta say, but yeah, I like it. Vocals are mostly sort of deep guttural ones, but there's a good bit of screams as well, so yeah, just Good, dirty gore grind sort of stuff. Love it. And lastly, from Terrible Mutation Records is the Bestial Mockery split with Carnarium. Bestial Mockery is a Swedish kind of, I don't know, black thrash kind of band. Somewhat obsessed with chainsaws for some reason. Well, it's fair enough, I understand. Yeah, this is fun, punky sort of stuff. Vocals have a slight bit of a Kronos sort of feel to them, but he does growl as well. So, I don't know, it's just loose sort of stuff. I quite enjoy it. I do have at least one of their albums, I think, on CD somewhere, so I'd have to crack that out again. And I'll give them some praise for their band photos. There's this charming one of a guy with big bullet down there, and then the boy's looking stupid there. If that doesn't come out very well, I'll put a picture of it up. But I love the old mate doing the Jeff Hanneman pose from the back of Show No Mercy, I think, with the classic Les Paul and the upside down cross. Good attention to detail, lads. Carnarium is a Swedish kind of death metal sort of band, I suppose. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with them at all, and still don't know much about them, but oh well. After a somewhat long and kind of pointless intro, they're yeah, pretty average sound, I gotta say. One thing I did like out of this was pretty friggin' intense vocals. Yeah, nice fun little EP with cool cover art. Yeah, what the hell? All hail the chainsaw. Next up is one I got from Imprint Merch. This is Potion with Ageless. This is a Sydney sludgy, doomy sort of band, pretty much for fans of Electric Wizard, you could say. Yeah, I've seen these guys live a few times. They kick ass, and this is their 3 EPs combined into one. For some reason they'd already done another compilation 12-inch called My Blade Enslaved that I never did see that had the first 2 EPs. So yeah, I'm hoping one day we'll get an actual album out of them. So yeah, this is 3 EPs, and I can't even remember what they're called, but at any rate, it probably says it on here. What do we got? We've got the Woman of the Wand EP, Oath to Flame, and 7 Sorcerers / Gravemaker. So yeah, I don't have to track those down now, although I think I already have the Oath to Flame one. But yeah, this is killer doomy sort of stuff. Really great guitar tone. It's nice. Slight Slayer feel on Gravemaker, which I like. I don't know, maybe it's just something about it. I like the speed of these guys quite a lot. It's not too slow to be kind of boring. I mean, not that all slow doom stuff's boring, but these guys just, I don't know, it just seems quite the right sort of pace. I must admit that the newest Oath to Flame tracks are probably my favourite on here, and there's a couple of years in between, I think, so their songwriting's improving, so very much looking forward to an album. So yeah, spiffy looking. Mandatory no smiling in doom, and I might as well show the record off because it's kind of pretty. Ooh. Very nice. So yeah, I like these guys. Keen as I've been to see them live again, so yeah, Potion. Up next is Unclean with the Mechanism. This is an old Sydney punk sort of crusty metal band around in the, I don't know, what, mid to late 90s. I didn't even know this existed, to tell the truth. I've had their Plead the Filth, album for, well, since the 90s when it came out. And yeah, I just totally missed this one. This one came out on Underclass Records originally, who, all I know of theirs, they did this, was it Worst Case Scenario compilation of Sydney metal bands, which includes this band Sad X on here, and Misery, and heaps of good stuff. So, but yeah, this one, yeah, I just didn't know it existed until I saw it advertised. This one was put out by Bloody Oath Records and Inner City Uprising that always seem to work together. I'm not sure if they're the same thing or what, but anyway. So yeah, came out on vinyl, so very good. Yeah, honestly, this didn't really grab me anywhere near as much as Plead the Filth. It's a bit more metal sounding, a bit too much sort of, I don't know, groove metal. Well, I shouldn't really say that, but sort of that's the feeling I got. Like, I think it's Midnight. Kind of sounded like Pungent Stench or Sepultura for some reason. Certainly wasn't expecting the saxophone on, what is it, Lord of the Slums, but yeah, actually worked pretty well. It's got a kind of bluesy riff underneath it, and state-sponsored murder has didgeridoo in the background, which works pretty well. But I mean, it's still pretty bloody cool. But I like the crustier feel of this. This is a bit too metal, which is not usually a problem, but when you want it to sound crustier, it should. So kind of hoping one day they'll put this one out, but this one came out on Eccentric Records. That I have no idea whether they still exist. Old German label, so who knows? But yeah, I'm still happy to get this one. I'll probably play it from time to time, but yeah, still not too bad. Up next are a couple I got from Total War Records in Queensland. First up we have Ossuary with Cremation Ritual. I'm not quite sure what I expected with this one, but I think I got them confused with Ossuarium, is more death metal, although this is still pretty death metal. This is members of psychedelic doom band Jex Toth, playing death metal. This is their first demo from 2015, I think, so yeah, it's mostly chunky old school death metal, but it's got these weird raspy echoey kind of vocals that give it a unique sort of feel and kind of make it sounds a bit scary. I like it. I think my favourite song on here is probably Execration Hymn. It's just got a sort of kind of almost black metal-y tremolo bit in it. Not a big fan of the cover art, but it's better than Supreme Degradation, which I'll put up on the screen, because that just makes me laugh every time I see that cover. This is a damn good EP, and I think maybe it's a compilation, I think, but I think I will have to actually buy that, so even with that awful cover. But I'm not sure though with these guys, they got like a poster of that cover. I'm not sure if it's sort of supposed to be like intentionally artsy or super just crappy pixelated. Maybe it didn't quite turn out like they wanted. I really don't know, but anyway, good band though. And some of my American mates said they kick ass live, so yeah, I'm sure they would. So yeah, looking forward to another album of these guys at some stage. But yeah, that cover art, yeah. Also from Total War Records, and another one released by Darkness Shall Rise Productions is Amon with Sacrificial / Feasting the Beast. If you're wondering, yes, this is Deicide's demos pretty much. I don't know why I bought this. And this CD since it came out as well. So what the hell? This is I think I was sold by this lovely cover art and also the fact it's remastered by Dan Swano. I haven't actually played them side by side yet, but sounded pretty bloody good to me. So yeah, this is their two demos, Sacrificial from 89 and Feasting the Beast from 87. Bloody hell. Pretty much all songs off the first album other than somewhat crappy intro to Feasting the Beast. The Sacrificial demo was pretty much, it's like 6 songs off first album. Sounds pretty bloody similar to the album, I've got to say. It's obviously not that far before they actually recorded the album. Minimal vocal effects and probably less than the album. It's not as much of that sort of dual-tracked kind of vocal style to it. So yeah, unsurprisingly, sounds bloody killer. Feasting the Beast stuff is... it doesn't sound as killer. It's just raw as hell and heaps of effects on the vocals. They're somewhat laughable at times, but they do kind of grow on you, I gotta say. But one of the things on this is the solos are just wild, even more so than the album, so they're just pretty painful whammy explosions, really. And interestingly, I noticed on here in there comes with this kind of spiffy booklety thing that has the lyrics and a bit of a write-up, some painful flyers of amazing gigs it would have been. But the Days of Darkness lyrics here are the ones to Mephistopheles. So I don't know why, because I was sitting there listening to it yesterday, singing along, going, "Wait a sec, where are all those lyrics?" Because some of these lyrics are slightly different than the Deicide album version. So then I checked Metal Archives, and they had the same wrong lyrics for Day of Darkness. So maybe they'll like that on the original demo. This sort of does show the original covers for those two. So, but it doesn't have all the inner parts of the demo, so I'd be curious about that. And I'm also curious about, it's under exclusive license from Amon or whatever, which I assume is the Hoffman brothers. I don't really know. Like, I would have thought that Roadrunner owned the rights to this. Maybe they got them back after 20 years or something. Who knows? Maybe this is not very legal. Who can tell? But yeah, fine by me. It sounds pretty good. I still haven't got around to buying that Deicide box set, and maybe, or maybe won't, because it looks a bit minimal and boring. So happy to pick this one up. Although I do seem to recall reading, I think it was an Aussie guy got ripped off by one of the Hoffmans where it was producing guitars. So I'm not sure if that's ever been settled. So if it has, don't sue me for slander. But if not, dodgy. So, but yeah, classic Deicide / Amon. Can't go wrong. Next up are a batch I got from Wise Grinds Records from America, I think. Yeah, this is first up is Violation Wound split with Clitorati. Yeah, both of these are punk sort of bands. I wasn't really familiar with Clitorati. They have like female snarled kind of vocals, which yeah works pretty well. I mean, it's not bad. It's nothing amazing, I've got to say. The Violation Wound stuff is the main reason I bought this, because it's got Chris Reifert on it from Autopsy, and I'm a fanboy, so what the hell. Yeah, I'm a bit slack in my collecting of Violation Wound stuff. There's a good batch that I'm missing there. Lazy. Yeah, this is probably because it's kind of punky stuff. It's not quite as death metal-y as Autopsy or Abscess. So, but yeah, his shouty, growly kind of style works really well here with the kind of snotty old school punk. Yeah, it's not too dissimilar to his Eat My Fuck stuff. That I love that stuff. This isn't quite as good for my liking. It's not quite as sleazy. Although I think my favourite song in here is probably The Church of Go Fuck Yourself. Charming sort of stuff. So yeah, I need to listen to these guys more often, to tell the truth. I've got a good batch of their stuff, but not all of it. But yeah, it's just enjoyable punk sort of stuff with Chris Reifert going berserker over the top. Also from Wise Grinds Records was the Reeking Cross split with Sick Destroyer. Sick Destroyer is a Czech grind band that I wasn't overly familiar with before this, but sounds bloody good to me. It's members of Lycanthropy, Needful Things, and Controlled Existence, and just 9 songs of pretty friggin' intense, quick grind with growled vocals. It doesn't actually sound too dissimilar than their Countrymates Pigsties sort of earlier, the Return sort of era stuff. Not quite as new metal-y sounding, but yeah, it sounds killer to me. The other side is Reeking Cross, which is a noise grind sort of bass and drums and lots of screaming from Richmond, I think. Yeah, this is not quite as noisy as I've heard some of their stuff, but it's pretty raw. I like it a lot. It's got some guest vocals from Rich. I assume the Rich from Enemy Soil and Agrophobic. Seeing Mason from Enemy Soil is also in this band. Yeah, I quite enjoy their stuff. I kind of regret that I didn't get more of it when they were still around, but they seem to come and go. I'm not sure if they are still around or not, but yeah, killer art on this as well. I think the Sick Destroyer side kind of wins a bit. I don't know, it's kind of stylish, but yeah, killer little EP, that's for sure. Also from Wise Grinds Records is the Ruin split with Absconder. Yeah, this is continuing my Ruin collection, which is coming along pretty well, I gotta say. Ruin are murky death metal from, like, I don't know, Los Angeles, somewhere around there. Yeah, horrible sludgy sound. Usual classic sort of serial killer samples. Stuff like that. I think my favourite song on here is probably No One Can Hear the Screams. But yeah, it's just great mix of slow, sludgy kind of stuff with the faster, but not crazy fast death metal. Yeah, I really enjoy this band. Absconder on the other side, yeah, it's a bit more straightforward death metal. Nothing super amazing. I mean, they've got good splits with Cemeterian and Anatomia, so I've got a bit of their stuff there. They go alright. I think My Rotting Head is my favourite song on there of these guys, and I really like that cover art. It's very, very stylish. I don't know if you can see it properly, but yeah, just pretty damn good stuff. So yeah, I think this came out on Goat Throne Records, apparently. There you go. And while we're doing the Ruin side of things, this is their split with Abysme. Yeah, another band I didn't really know much about. The Ruin stuff's just filthy death metal as per usual. They just have that perfect sound of splattering sort of gore. I don't know, the vocals work really well. They're gross. So yeah, this is like 2 songs of mid-pace to slow death metal-y sort of stuff, and yeah, pictures of old mate Bundy on the inside. Can't go wrong with that. I didn't really know Abysme before, but it's nice chunky sounding death metal. Member of, I think they're from Pennsylvania, is a member of like Crucial Unit, the old thrashcore band is in this. They're marginally clunky kind of transitions that don't quite work well, but it's still murky and horrible enough sounding for me. We'll definitely check out I think it's Strange Rites, their album. And yeah, really stylish cover art, but as you can see, it's kind of a wraparound picture, but the one time when it could be gatefold so you could look at it in one, it's not, but well, what the hell, so yeah, yet more Ruin. And speaking of Ruin, the main reason I did the order from Wise Grinds, plural, records, is for this new Ruin Maggots EP, essentially. Look at that cover, isn't that just great? These are essentially old songs of Ruin, and they're one of those bands not too dissimilar to Backsack Saxa, where they did like one demo back in the 90s and split up for donkey's years, then got back together. So I think one of the songs off here is off the first demo when they got back together, and then there's a couple of songs from kind of an EP or something or other around that time. So they're older ones, they're not quite as rancid as their newer stuff, but it's still pretty bloody nasty. I love it. The first song, A Foul Stench of Human Beings, plural, is just pure autopsy worship, which is definitely fine by me. It's just, yeah, pretty much has the Destined to Fester main riff in it, but what the hell. And Soon the Darkness has just got filthy, sludgy sound and just really loud bass on that song for some reason. It sounds bloody killer. And yeah, it's another of those bands, much like Fluids, where I kind of don't really want to know what the samples are from, because they're a bit gross. I figure they're probably just from like horror movies mostly, and yeah, this is the spiffy version, which comes with friggin' felt cover for your turntable record. So currently I have a Slayer logo, like classic pentagram, swords kind of one. So yeah, I don't know if Ruin will quite get the Guernsey on that one, but yeah, maybe I'll give them a go for a while. And it also comes with like trading cards. One of, I think, is that with old mate Ramirez on there, and I don't know, handful of maggots, and the classic cover of about 4 different death metal albums. And the boys looking scary with masks on. So yeah, I love the trading card side of things, and I think if I'm not mistaken, that's right, the record is bright. So yeah, I couldn't go past that one. What's the inner sleeve got on it? Lots of pictures. Ooh, yeah, I better not show you the other side, but some pictures of all of our good old serial killer mates. So yeah, this is I was kind of hoping this would be newer stuff, but no, it doesn't worry me that much. They've put out plenty of new stuff lately, so yeah, this is well worth it. I was glad to pick this one up. And lastly, we have a couple of demos that I got courtesy of Facebook from a bloke called Ben, so thanks heaps, mate. Appreciate the sale. First up, we have Fuck 'em Dead with their self-titled demo. This is pretty much the final bit of my Fuck 'em Dead collection that I have. Although that said, on Facebook, it's not Facebook, Discogs, there's Jeffrey Dahmer's Cookbook, which is some CDR that I don't have. It's like, I think it's this demo and some live tracks or something, so collection's not quite there, but very happy to get this. This is their demo from, let's see, when was it? Early 2000s, I'm guessing. Yeah, 2000. Yeah, one of 100, I believe, so very happy with that one. So didn't expect to ever pick this one up, so happy with that. I haven't actually listened to this tape yet, but mainly because my tape player doesn't work, but I did manage to discover that I have these songs on my computer, so that was rather handy. So yeah, I've listened to it a few times, and yeah, it sounds kind of crap compared to the EP beforehand and the album, so yeah. Anyway, nice to have. Yeah, you can hardly hear the guitars on this because the drums are just too loud. The drum programming is it's smoother later on, let's just put it that way. Vocals are still just as rabid and crazy. And I mean, I know most of these songs, but honestly, it's really nice to have a couple of the non-album songs. I think it's The Death of Ian Smith and Pablo's Anal Maggot Colony. Charming. So it's good to hear different sort of songs from that sort of era. I'm really glad they got a better logo, and yeah, I love that classic sort of rotten.com picture from the early 2000s. So yeah, exciting tape. For some reason, a picture of an AK-47 on the inside. And yeah, this is on Hear No Evil Records, which, yeah, I think it's their one and only release. And then they turned into No Escape Records because it's the same post office box I checked. So yeah, very nice to have. One day I'll listen to it. I've been thinking I really do need to get either my tape player fixed or a new, or at least better version of one. One day though. So yeah, good old fuck I'm dead. And the second demo from Ben, and one I'm very happy to get, is Portal with their demo from 1998. Very, very happy to get this one. It wasn't the cheapest, but well worth it, I think. Yeah, this is their first demo. This was them with, it was just the Curator and Horror Elogium. Curator sounds a bit more sort of death metal-y sounding on this, I've got to say. It's not quite as raspy sort of style. Not really a huge fan of the drum machine on here, but well, it's a demo after all. They're still working things out. It's early versions of 3 songs off Sepia, but it's like from 98, so it's like 5 years before they finally did Sepia. But yeah, this is the proper version of it. Comes with the, cover of good old Nosferatu, and also Cthulhu having a waking up, as it were. Musically, I must admit, I also own the Hell's Headbanger reissue version of this, which is pretty much exactly the same, although on the inside it now has a very blurry picture of their classic old witch's hat sort of era, sitting around looking grim. But of course, I also have, as a complete fanboy that I am, I have the record version that Dissident Records put out. Just like a 7-inch version. And yet again, even more so, and possibly rarer, have this CDR that Worm, the old bass player, I'm pretty sure it was him who burned it for me. Although for some reason it says Portal Demo 95. But I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same. This one actually has Hounds of Tinderloss as the last sort of soundscapey song. So, I'm not sure why he got the the year wrong. I mean, it wasn't actually on this recording, so... But yeah, kind of nice to have that, but yeah, very nice to have the original now, so quite happy with that one. Yeah, this is probably the closest you're going to get to, like, H.P. Lovecraft in music form. I kind of like there's an almost normal sounding riff on Vessel of Balon. It sounds friggin' killer here. But yeah, I'm glad I waited for this, because I think I remember guy from Nuclear War Now had this listed on his, I don't know, it was like 200 US, or it was probably 150 plus sort of thing. Not cheap, and I was marginally tempted, but yeah, I'm glad I held out, because yeah, very happy to have this one. So thanks again, Ben. Good work. Well, that's my rather lengthy October collection update, so thanks for sticking around. As usual, all the shops that I bought it from, or labels or whatever, as well as the bands themselves, and I try and there are links below, and I try and give links to the specific releases just so you can check them out. This video would be a hell of a lot longer if I tried to put music from all of the releases on it as well. So, but yeah, I highly encourage you to check them out below. Yeah, I've not bought as much yet so far in November, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure there'll be a few things make their way into my collection. So yeah, I think I've got a gig coming up in about 3 weeks or so. Going to see Shrek doing, or Shrink, whatever his name is, doing Punch and Stench. So the singer Martin doing his Punch and Stench. Not really a cover band, seeing he's a member of Punch and Stench, but anyway, the band he can't call Punch and Stench. They're playing at the Potbelly in Canberra, which is a pretty small, pokey venue. So I have a ticket for that, so I'm very much looking forward to that. I saw him at MDF a couple of years ago, and it was awesome fun, really killer. Still sounded bloody amazing. So, and those songs, I can't go wrong with the stench. So I'm hoping, I'm tempted to take a camera along, but Potbelly is pretty bloody small, and the stage is not exactly massive, so might not be the easiest to film. So I'll see what I can do. I won't guarantee a review, but yeah, you never know. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, but yeah, thanks again for watching. yeah, feel free to leave comments below on any of this stuff, or if you want to learn more about it. So yeah, cheers. See you soon.